Hello, you're listening to Otaku Spirit Anime Cast. My name is Andrew, and I'm joined here with Chris.
Yo.
Today's episode is our Winter 2025 anime season first impressions. We've gone through all the shows, or at least I have. Chris has done a lot more than I thought he would, so good on Chris. We've gone through all the episodes, all the shows of the season. I think we're pretty much at this point where we're like at least 3 episodes on every show. Some shows I'm as far as like 6 episodes, so we're getting in there. It's time to start talking about them because we're getting too far in. That happens with winter. We're finishing up fall and doing the anime of the year and all that kind of stuff, so it puts us back. But anyways, we're here to talk about them, so you guys don't have to go through all the shows. We'll tell you what's the good stuff, or at least give you an idea of what the show's about, so you can decide if you want to watch it. That's the whole idea of it. So yeah, without further ado, or before we get into that, otakuspirit.com is where all of our links are, social media links, ways to get a hold of us, ways to support us, all that good jazz. But let's just dive into it. Ready?
Probably.
We got a lot to go through.
Probably.
Might as well get quickly. Our first one, let's start off with a banger. The first show that aired in the Winter 2025 anime season, the best show of the season for so many people. It's up there for me. I wouldn't say it's the best show, but it definitely has its own reasons for being good. It's Beheneko. The elf girl's cat is secretly an S-rank monster or S-rank monster no behemoth dakedo neko to machigawa rate elf musume no petto to shite kurashimasu. Oh my gosh, dude. I forgot how long that title was. Yes, this one's airing on or streaming with High Dive if you're in like the 2 regions that High Dive is in, unfortunately. But yes, done by Zero G and Saberworks, based on a light novel. Genres are action, adventure, comedy, fantasy, and of course, ecchi. Directed by the guy that did a Buchigiri and Grimoire of Zero, and Serious Competition by the person that worked on Emerson's Shadow. But yeah, this one opens up with a soldier who at some point he gets like killed by like demons. Or was it Demon Blade?
I thought he was a knight.
He was a knight, yeah. Did I say something else?
You said soldier.
Soldier, yeah. It's a knight in this one. Come on, Chris. Actually, it was a knight. He was a dude with a sword, and he dies. And he doesn't like forever die. He actually awakens in the body of a behemoth of legend. You know, one of those things that like S rank. It's S rank, and so like entire guilds of like people have to take him down. But he's really, really small. He's actually a little cub, a behemoth cub, and he looks like a little cat, and he's cute. He starts traveling around this dungeon that he's in. Eventually, he gets attacked by this earth dragon, is nearly killed. But then this elf girl, stumbles upon him, takes him back home, and then heals him back to normal, gets him back to health. And so he decides at that point, I'm going to devote myself to protecting this elf girl. Is she going to take care of me? I'm going to take care of her. And so, yeah, she's still going to the dungeon because she's an adventurer. He eventually saves her life. And then she starts spitting super doki doki with them. We find out that in her past, she was a part of this elf village that was attacked by demons that were wanting to get their Philosopher's Stone. And she was saved by the Sword Saint at the time. And she's pretty much wanting to become like the Sword Saint. Wants to be strong just like her. And yes, wants to breed with Tama really badly. We met with Vulcan, which is a friend of hers, a blacksmith. There's a lot of insinuation that she used to be a part of like this really strong party back in the day. She joins her party, and eventually, yeah, he has to fight the Earth Dragon again in order to find a cure for Arya because she gets poisoned. And then the Earth Dragon that he defeats in order to get the cure ends up reincarnated into a dragon newt that starts hanging out with him as well and wants to breed with him because he's stronger than her. So obviously, you breed with the strongest of the pack. Yeah, and everybody wants to breed with him. Let's just get it out of the way. Everyone wants to breed with this cat. So yeah, that's the concept here. And yeah, when to get revenge and fight demons because Arya doesn't like demons. So what's your thoughts on Beheneko so far? Even though you haven't seen anything about this whole Earth Dragon thing that is spoiled because you're behind.
I kind of gathered everything. It was pretty easy.
Hey Chris, spoiler. The dragon wants to bang him too.
Yeah.
The dragon wants to bang the cat too.
Yeah, I'm liking the show. It's fun. It's kind of more chill. Just goof off in the dungeon with all your ladies and protect them. So it works for me. I haven't found anything that's really bothered me right now so far.
Yeah, I think everything's pretty much on board. I mean, the thing that I always kind of equate it to, obviously, is Inukai-san's dog. It just feels very Inukai-san's dog-ish, where, yes, the main character has become a small, cute animal, and they're around ecchi shenanigans. Whereas Inikai-san's dog, it seems like, yeah, you have like them being very frisky around the dog, and he's observing it all. The reason why I like this one a lot more than that one is, yes, technically with Inikai-san's dog, it has more ecchi in it. Like, it seems like that's its own focus. I mean, you have of course, the story that he wants to find out why he's in a dog, obviously. And yes, his like for this girl who turns out to be psychotic. Her turns out to be psychotic. It's got that whole thing there, but with this one, I find that it does well in order to have the in-betweens be more entertaining, because I think they're doing a better job with like actually making it a fleshed out world, having the fantasy setting, having the magic, having the skill systems and whatnot, trying to build that up. Arya's got a decent driving force. I mean, she wants to be like the Sword Saint. She doesn't like demons. She wants to, protect people because demons are going around and hurting everybody. And she wants to be just like the Sword Saint that protects people. Vulcan, again, has her own past, and she seems to be like she's, part of some hero party or something. Stella and her essentially becoming a dragon newt / human, and now suddenly she's fighting her own primal desires, and he's trying to help her, give up being vicious and a monster and try to be more like a human and be a part of a party and all that kind of stuff. So there's like actual content in there in between the ecchi. And I would say, like, I know that would be a push off for a lot of people is the ecchi, and there's tons of it in here, but I think that's not really the focus, because it seems like there's probably only like one little segment each episode where it gets like super lewd. For the most part, it's kind of just this fantasy story about the shenanigans of him getting around the party, and yes, everybody wanting to bang him. Everybody wanted to crossbreed with him. Which I think is kind of the funniest thing. Like, I see so many people that are just like super noped about that. Like, I'll post like so many lewd little clips on X or whatever, and there's just people going, yeah, I can't do this no more. And it's like, is it? Does it really bother people that badly that this fake fictitious character is getting horned on by an elf and a cat girl and a dragon? I mean, it's a fake story. Like, why does this bother people so much? I mean, I get the whole like that's like the whole siscon thing. Like, we joke and have so much fun around like characters like Yuki or something like that from Oshidere, and her being like all over her brother, and us joking about that, just wanting the incest to happen. And there's like people that are super like offended by it. Like, I would never do that with my sister. It's like, you don't think too much on it, dude. don't think too much on it, dude. We're not asking you to bang your sister. We're saying Yuki's freaking hot and she's best girl. Chill. I'm not Yuki's sister. It's okay. Or Yuki's brother. I'm not sister. It's like, are we really expecting that Tama is going to bang these girls? It's anime. They'll never get that far.
Whoa. Wait, they're not?
They'll never get that far. Well, I mean, probably the manga in like, 200 chapters, something like that. Eventually he'll have like probably
my first baby,
a human form or something like that. And then it'll happen. Or he'll just, I don't know, he's got abilities that will do things. And maybe that one of those things will have it happen. It's wrong. And I love it. And I just get a kick out of the fact that some people like take it extremely seriously. Like, this is offensive. How dare this is bestiality. It's like, I mean, one of them is a dragon and one of them is a cat girl. What's so wrong with the cat behemoth dude getting with a cat girl? Are we against cross-racial breeding or something like that? Just chill. Anyways, it's a stupid show, and I have a lot of fun watching it. So I've been enjoying a lot. I think visually it looks really solid. I mean, the combat sequences are a lot of action stills, but it does enough. And I think it's doing really well enough to kind of keep rather than, again, I hate to keep comparing here, but it's like a perfect comparison. Unlike Inikai-san's dog, I really do feel like this one is not... The problem I've seen that show go into was that it was trying to one-up itself. Like, it was constantly trying to do something that was so much more absurd than the previous one, and it felt like at some point it kind of just lost it. Like, at some point it was like, yeah, you're never gonna outdo that one. you're never gonna outdo the table assault or something like that. With this one, I feel like since it's not the focus, the ecchi's not the focus, and it does other stuff. When it does come around to that kind of stuff again, the ecchi humor, it's like it kind of jumps at you and you're like, oh crap, yeah, of course, because he used his tentacle ability, which makes a whole bunch of kitty cat tails that grabs the girls and pulls them away from danger. Suddenly out of nowhere, Arya has a new fetish and she really badly wants him to use his tentacle tails on her again. It does well enough to kind of just keep mixing it up to where I don't really feel like it's trying to one up itself. It's just kind of going, okay, here's the next punchline. Yes, a lot of Arya's humor is around just being thirsty for him, which is always a kick. I mean, obviously they all have that thirstiness. Again, technically Stella wants his seed. He's stronger than me, so suddenly he has to give me a seed. And now you have Arya's wanting to protect his chastity at the same time as Stella's wanting to claim that she's the strongest of the pack and that she should be at Tama's side. All the while Vulcan's off the side going, girls, we can all have them. There's plenty of them for all of us. Vulcan, best girl, by the way. Easily best girl. I do like it. There's a lot to this show that I'm really enjoying. And again, it has enough outside the ecchi that's keeping me entertained. So I'm eagerly looking forward to it every single week. So it's been solid. I don't know if it'll have a satisfying end in the end. I'm sure they'll probably have something that'll come up they have to kind of strive towards. I mean, they have this whole thing with the skeleton, but I don't think that's going to be the end of the story. I think it's going to probably get into some other stuff. Maybe she'll have a trial to becoming they've sort of implied the idea that she might be a candidate for Sword Saint. Because she had like a light came out of her when she attacked the demon dude. So she probably is going to be one. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. I'm enjoying it. Beheneko, the elf girl. The elf and the cat girl's cat is secretly an S-rank monster. The cat and the elf elf cat. The Fruitmaster. I think this might end up being like my first drop.
Really?
Yeah, this one's just really a little bit too much Sugoi for me. We'll see. Bogus skill, Fruitmaster. About that time, I became able to eat unlimited number of skill fruits that will kill you. Sorry. Hazure skill, kinomi master, skill no mi, tabitara, shinu wo mugen ni tabitararu, yo ni nata ken ni suite. I'm choosing all the longest title ones first. Well, it's based on when they started airing. This one's running on Crunchyroll for 12 episodes, done by Asahi Production. This one is action adventure fantasy based on a manga. This one opens up in a world where everybody has like skills granted to them at some point in their life when they get old enough. They'll go to the church. The church will bestow upon them a fruit, and when they consume the fruit, it will give them a skill. And so, yeah, it's pretty much that point you're going to decide your entire life if you're going to get a skill to do like a trade skill or farmer or, yeah, like a weapon skill to become an adventurer or whatever. And he's growing up with his childhood friend Lena, and the two of them have dream in the future they're going to become swordsmen together and become adventurers. Well, unfortunately, when they get there, Lena, she becomes like literally the sword saint. And so everybody's like super excited. Holy crap, that's great. You're going to basically like shuffle her off to the church. Like the church is going to put her and assign her where she needs to do. But unfortunately, Light gets the fruit master skill. And so he's going to become a farmer. And yeah, Lena's like, oh, I'll just give up on being a sword saint. I'll just go farm with you. That's fine. And they're like, no, the church is going to allow that. You have to use this for the betterment of people. So they get separated. Cut forward. At some point, he's just using his fruit master ability in order to make a bunch of crops. At some point, the mayor comes over with a random girl and says like, hey, take care of this girl. And he's like, I don't know where she came from, but we're not going to ask questions. So now he has, I'm guessing, a slave girl with him, just out of nowhere, because you need a cute lolly character with him, right? So he's just like doing that stuff. Eventually, she cooks him a meal one day. And as he's eating the meal, she's like, oh, yeah, I grabbed some of those fruits from over there to mix in with it. And he's like, holy crap, that's the fruits that we're only supposed to eat one of. I'm going to die. Oh, no. Turns out he gains another ability, which is, what's the sword ability at that point, right?
Sword God.
Yeah, sword God. So, yeah, he discovers that point that apparently being Fruit Master allows him to eat fruits without dying. It gives him like a poison protection or whatever. So he's able to eat multiple fruits, or at least he ate 2. So, yeah, he used that in order to be able to finally... And yeah, she ate one too, and that gave her appraisal skill, which of course is the OP ability, right?
Yeah.
So she's probably more OP than he is because she's got appraisal skill. But yeah, he ends up joining the adventure guild. Eventually runs into Lena. She's a part of like a douchebag group of adventurers, and so she gets like abused all the time. But eventually, Light comes to rescue her, obviously, and duels the guy and frees her from having to be in that party because she can't do anything herself. Then they go off together and do a quest where they have to fight or look into something that ends up being some weird necromancer chick, and they fight her. So, thoughts? That sounds good. What do you think of? I was thinking of What was that one stupid Fruit of Evolution? I don't know why that show keeps popping in my head whenever I think about this title.
Yeah, well, fruit and fruit. So yeah.
Well, because wasn't that one another one where like he ate the fruits and it made him like super powerful? Every time he ate one, it like was bad or something like that for him or something. It made you evolve, like the monkey girl evolved.
It makes you evolve. I don't.
Hence the title, Andrew.
With this one, it has an interesting concept. I kind of want to see more of it before I kind of decide that I don't like it. One of the biggest problems, both of us kind of hit at it, is at some point that we get into the kind of necromancer thing, and it just kind of got stuck there for a while, and it didn't really feel like we were getting anywhere. Finally, this dragon pops up, and he eats like 5 more fruits to get himself powerful enough to take on the dragon, and we kind of see a negative side to eating a lot of the fruits, which if he eats too many fruits all at one time, it seems he gets a really bad headache.
Oh no.
I know, right?
No. Whatever will this main character do with his OP abilities if he gets headaches?
Then we kind of see that the nun is kind of setting herself up as the bad guy. I know, it was a big shock. But as it is, it's fine. I'm not really bothered by it so far. It's generally entertaining. I kind of want more out of it. I hope it'll be a bit more, but as it stands right now, it's just in this holding pattern right now.
Yeah, this will probably be my first drop, and I it's mainly because there's like multiple aspects to it. I think this kind of goes in that realm of like the Sugoi shows where the main character does something Sugoi and everybody goes Sugoi, and there's not really much depth to them. And plus, I really do find like the overall chemistry of the characters is just like super bland. Like I just don't really. I don't find any of them really kind of work well together. There's no push and pull to their chemistry. It's just mostly Light just going forward and doing Sugoi stuff, and Alia being cute, following after him, and then over here Lena is just waiting for him to save her butt. She kind of did some cool stuff with the whole necromancer chick, but other than that, she's just kind of just... It was kind of disappointing when it came to the whole situation with the whole... the party that Lena was a part of. I'm like, I kind of wanted her to kind of push back more, but I think that moment where she just kind of just sits there and waits for him to save her. Not that I'm against that. Like, I'm all for dude being like super cool and winning over the girls by saving them, but it just felt like, I almost felt like she needed to do something. And then when she didn't, I was like, that's fine, but okay, maybe do something with her character. But there's like, it feels like there's nothing really there for her character other than, getting into later on her, those other party members that she ends up having to fight. So it feels like overall the character chemistry is just absolutely not there. The character writing's not there. It just feels like, cool, Light has OP abilities and gonna show everybody that he's not weak no more. Good job, Light. So yeah, I think this will probably my first drop, but it's fine. It's fine. It's overall it's fine. It's a lot better than Fruit of Evolution. It's a lot better than Fruit of Evolution. That's for damn sure.
Leave my Gorilla Girl alone.
Girl's fine. It's just I don't care much for the potty humor in that one. Very juvenile humor of that show. Whatever. Let's speaking of Sugoi shows, let's go right in another one. In another world, making toilets and pantsu. Another world with my toilet and pantsu making magics. The Alchemist show. He doesn't have appraisal skill. He has alchemy skill. It's different. Possibly the greatest alchemist of all time. Izure Saikyo no Renken Jutsushi. This one's streaming on Crunchyroll, running for 12 episodes, done by Studio Comet. Source of the light novel, adventure, fantasy of the genres. This one follows a guy who... Is this the one where he was pulled in with another group? I don't think so, was it? That was a different one. What was the opening on this one? I know that he got caught up in something and the goddess was apologetic.
You're right. This is that one, because he gets put in one area, they got in the other area, and he's gone through the entire
Yeah, and they're wanting him to build up because he's 10 years earlier or something like that, right? Or is that a different show? I don't
It
know.
might be 10 years earlier.
These isekai shows get like all muddied together at some point. Because I know that he does have a special blessing from the goddess, because she kind of felt bad from her or something like that, and the other goddess is like making fun of her for doing that. Let me double, because the reason why I'm questioning it is because I don't have the other adventurers in here, and they technically did they brought up the other adventurers a couple times, and the one that I'm thinking of, that there's like essentially what seems like the princesses or whatever is trying to manipulate them. What is it? Alchemist?
Yeah, because
Greatest?
the other one has intuition, and she knows that something's not right.
She senses it. They kind of imply that she was given that for the reason of being able to sniff out what they're doing there. No, I don't think this is one because I don't see the other adventurers in here. So maybe this isn't the one. Who cares? He's brought to another world. He is reincarnated, right? Yeah, he was actually mixed up with a group of heroes. So this is the one. Okay, so I'm not crazy. Not even a hero, Takumi Imanuma is accidentally mixed in with a group of heroes chosen to be summoned to another world. In compensation for the mix-up, the goddess offers him a bunch of abilities, which is pretty much turns out to be... Well, she offers him, like, OP abilities and stuff like that, and he's like, no, I don't want to get involved with that kind of stuff. And she's like, okay, I'll give you alchemy or whatever. And bestows upon him, like, a blessing and whatnot to protect him. Sends him, again, 10 years back in time, before all this crap's going to go down. At which point he comes across a little village. He starts hanging out in that village, starts, practicing blacksmithing and alchemy and everything. Like every trade skill you can possibly think of, he's just trying it all, using up all his mana and putting his life in danger. At some point, yeah, he even gets a little spider thing called Kaede, a monster that he saves and tames and whatnot. Eventually goes into the town, ends up starting to make toilets. This trader guy ends up spotting the toilet and wanting to sell the toilet. But there's a problem, the fact that he has, in order to make the toilet, he made it to where it produces holy magic in order to get rid of detoxify the waste that's going into it. And the trade guy realizes that it has holy magic in it, which will put him in the eyes of the church, and the church will come and get him because they want holy magic user, which is like super rare. So he's got like an NDA with the merchant guy to not tell anybody while he makes a whole bunch of toilets, and eventually has to get some help for the whole process. So he has to go get some slaves, obviously, because they apparently make pacts that you can't turn on your master and tell anybody what's going on. So obviously he has to go get himself a hot elf girl and a now Toyama maid. That's the whole reason I like the show. Eventually makes underwear for them, and they go out adventuring together,
and
because he has to keep
time
doing adventuring.
Falling farther and farther in love with him.
Yeah, because he healed her ear, the elf's ear, and that made her like super doki doki for her. Well, she had like a problem with her leg too, but that doesn't matter. It's her ear. He made her cute again. And I guess I probably like a thing about like she doesn't have like the full ear, and so her balance is off. So now she has the full ear, she has full balance.
Yeah, it definitely had nothing to do with her abilities.
And nothing to do with the fact that she had like a curse or something like that. It was the ear. She lost her ear, so she wasn't cute enough, and so she got hurt. And then eventually his little spider monster evolves into a lolly spider because he needed a lolly.
Seems legit.
And he's now making underwear and toilets. So what's your thoughts on possibly the greatest alchemist of all time making toilets in another world?
I love it. I really do. I think all the characters are great. I absolutely love the goofy hijinks. I'm totally on board for another alchemy show. My probably only real beef with it is that it's not, which would probably make it 10 times worse for everybody else, but I love it, is I wish they kind of dug into more of the crafting stuff. That's just me. But other than that, I've been having a blast with it. I really am enjoying it.
You got a full diagram of how the toilet runs through holy magic, and you want more in-depth than that?
Mm-hmm.
He literally shows you how it processed the poop by going through a holy magic system. I like the fact that he's literally going to get outed to the holy church because he's literally making toilets.
Yeah.
It's like the merchant's like, holy crap, can you make... Holy crap. You can make something that uses holy magic to get rid of crap. And he's like, you should probably keep that under wraps. Hey, let me sell these in mass quantities so that, nobody's going to really notice that we have
them.
holy toilets going out in the middle of nowhere. Never the king couldn't possibly note that there's suddenly holy toilets everywhere. And holy pantsus, probably eventually going to have holy pantsu. Now, I joked about earlier, but this is probably, of the Sugoi shows, probably the one that's most enjoyable for me, just because it is doing enough it's doing enough all over the place to kind of keep it constantly random. Like, not random, there's a process that's happening here, but at least it's constantly mixing up. Like, again, the very beginning, it's going to this village, helping out the village, doing a lot of processing there. The lady getting mad at him because he's using too much mana, he's going to hurt himself. So they're constantly keeping an eye on him to keep him from overusing his mana.
Then eventually makes an entire wall around the entire village.
And OP healing potions that like fully restore everything and that are worth like a fortune. But then he goes to the town, and then out there he's making toilets, and he's got this big old mansion, and he's again getting the contracts with these two girls just to kind of have somebody to help him out. It's going into getting rid of the curse. It's constantly changing what it's doing. It's not like focusing on let's just, like what Chris wants, focus on crafting over and over and over again and seeing how many things we can make in this world. But that sort of leads into my concern that I have, and that sort of kind of losing me, is that it just looks like it's going to be a making niceties in another world, which is sort of what like another show this season's doing, the online shopper one. It's just literally what niceties can they bring to the world, and everybody goes, Sugoi, what is this? It's a bra. And they're like, holy crap, I want to try it on. Yay. That's super, super crafty. Yay. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle road on this one, like overall. Like I think the only thing that's probably keeping me watching is because Toyama. The moment that she pops up on the screen, I'm like, I got it. It's Toyama, and she's for whatever reason has an obsession with putting herself in the same category as a toilet. That's right. I mean, she was all for the whole daggers on the thigh thing. I do appreciate that he is a blah, blah, blah type of character, obviously. But at least it does show that he's got like a pervy side that he kind of gets wrapped up into every now and then, which is kind of nice, that he just kind of, oh wow, I thought of that, and that's actually really ecchi. So at least his mind runs with it. So he's not like a total like I don't know, without like a pure lack of any sexual awareness kind of thing. But he is kind of a wah character, so that's kind of annoying. That's all right. It's all right though. Possibly the greatest alchemist of all time. Dr. Ameku, the doctor detective. I thought this was like literally already shutting down because it's already had delays. Like the season just started, and this one's already had delays. I don't know if it was. I think it was a production issue. I don't remember. Ameku MD, Doctor Detective, or Ameku Takayo no Suiri Karta. This one is streaming on Crunchyroll and for 12 episodes, done by Project Number 9, based on a novel. Mystery Slice of Life is the idea here. Yeah, it's basically I have never watched House, but everybody's saying it's anime House. So apparently that's the best way to describe it is it's anime House. The idea here is that you have this doctor who's like a super genius girl that looks like she's in high school, but she's actually an adult doctor. And she has a assistant that always has to kind of keep track of her and keep her safe because she doesn't have like the usual social cues. She's very socially inept. This girl just does not know social norms. So she kind of just is very kind of rude with her comments and very upfront, very blunt with what she says. So he's constantly having to kind of keep her safe from, people that'll get a little mad that she solves a problem. But yeah, the whole thing here is that she loves mysteries. So if she gets a hint that there's some kind of unsolved medical mystery, she just jumps in there and kind of solves the issue.
That sounds about like House.
Yeah. And of course, she has her own little quirks. Like the beginning episode really is like she's trying to get the guy to finish up his work so that they can go together to go to the museum to see a T-Rex skeleton. So she's like super excited to see that. But then he's being held up because they have like several backed up cases that they're working on. And so she just comes in there and goes, "What's your problem? Oh, this is the problem. What's your problem? This is the problem. Oh yeah, your kid is literally can't breathe. It's because you're feeding him too many damn vitamins, you idiot." She just kind of bluntly just kind of fixes all the issues, and they go to the park, whatever. So yeah, and she can't help but kind of get involved with things, just kind of dive into situations, even though everybody around them is saying don't get involved. You have the police officers, the director of the hospital himself is like, don't get involved with this situation because it's got the police involved or whatever. She doesn't listen because she wants to solve it. So kind of the concept here. Again, we had like the whole situation in the first one. We got into the whole, apparently they found a body that had the leg chopped off, and they end up finding out that they used the skeleton of the T-Rex to literally chop the leg off. I don't know why the hell they did that. That was a little weird. So they have to hold that whole mystery there. It kind of gets involved with like the mafia and whatnot, or some gangs. And then we have this whole situation where this one girl watches a cursed video and immediately just kind of walks right in front of a train. And so they're trying to figure out what happened with her. It turns out to be like this whole situation with like basically like a seizure kind of thing. Just certain flashing lights kind of mess with them, whatever. And it gets into, what was the next one? Trying to remember what the last one was. Anyways, that's basically the concept there. Just different mysteries that she solves and figures them out, all the while ticking off everybody around them. Oh yeah, the tome. These people dug up an old crypt, and there was a curse on the crypt itself, and she has to solve that whole situation. So, my thoughts on the show so far: I enjoy it. Well enough. I think Takeo Ameku, the main girl, the doctor chick, I do find her personality a lot of fun. Again, she's a quirky doctor, or quirky detective doctor. And I think her kind of personality really does come to the forefront and really kind of carries the show for the most part. I think the only thing that really kind of does hold it back for me is I don't find the medical mysteries themselves to be that interesting so far. I think for the most part, like the whole thing with the guy losing the leg and the blue blood and all that kind of stuff, there was certain aspect of it that I think if you knew some medical terminology and use cases, you could probably figure some of that stuff out. But for the most part, it felt like it was kind of like off the wall what the actual conclusion was. Again, like the whole thing with chopping off the leg. How the hell did you do that? Really? We're going with that. Okay, sure. We'll go with that. I did find the two sisters to be kind of interesting. That was an interesting little kind of thing there, and I kind of had that sense of what that was going to be, what the resolve was for it. But for the most part, they're not like super intriguing stories, but at the same time, they're entertaining enough. And again, I think a lot to do with what carries it is Ameku's like quirky nature to kind of carry the show. I'm very mixed on this one. I think the biggest problem this show has is really the quality, which again, it being delayed makes perfect sense because it does seem like there's a lot of moments in the show so far that's already kind of showing some dip in quality. And so that it seems like they're barely kind of pushing it across the finishing line at this point, which scares me if they're already struggling now, if they're going to be able to finish the show. So this might end up being, I would assume that if they're delaying at this point, they're probably going to have like a 2-episode cut off, not finish a type of season, like get 10 episodes in and then carry on the 2 episodes for like, I don't know, fall or something like that. We'll see though. So far, it's enjoyable enough. The mysteries are okay. And I think I said before, Ameku kind of carries it. So there you go.
Is she just socially awkward, or is she brash and abrasive?
Like I said, she just doesn't have like normal social filters. Like, again, a good example is in the first episode. Like I said, they have this one situation where this kid's literally like I think he was like swelling up or something like that, and they're trying to help him out, and the mom's sitting right there, and she walks up there and literally goes and looks over in the mom's purse, and the purse has like a whole bunch of plums and a bunch of vitamin supplements, and she's like, I think it was have something to do with his eyes. Like he was prescribed to have more vitamins for his vision, and apparently the mother, she figures it out. She's like, so what you're doing here probably is that you're having him take supplements for his vision. His vision's not getting better fast enough. So now you're giving him like a massive amounts through all those fruits and whatnot. You're literally killing your child, that kind of thing. Like she doesn't like have like those usual, like, she doesn't say it properly like normal people would do. Would like, okay, I see what you're doing here. You're giving him too much and it's harming him. You have to pull back. She'll literally say, you're doing the wrong thing. You're giving him way too much stuff and you're causing it, kind of thing. Like she's very blunt. She doesn't know how to, again, like, dance around the subject in a calm way. She's just very blunt about it. She's not mean about it. She's blunt. Again, doesn't really have the usual social.
House is kind of abrasive and
I've always found him to be kind of a dick.
He's pretty much a jerk.
Every clip I've seen of him, he's kind of a dick. So I don't really see her that way. I just think that she's a little bit too honest and blunt. She doesn't know how to talk to people properly. It's really what it is. Bang Dream. I'm not going to talk too much on this one because we're technically on the second season of it. It's technically the second season. Of Mujica. I'm struggling with this season. I'm really, really struggling with this season of Mujica, Bang Dream of Mujica. So we basically changed perspectives. The first season was mostly focused around Enon, and she was with our band with Soyo, Tomori. They had Sakiko at the very beginning, but she quit the group. Now we're finding out why Sakiko left the group, and it got into her whole problem that she's dealing with her father and her family, which I thought was a really good story to kind of start things off, because it finally gave us it tried to give us an explanation why she decided to break off from her current band without telling them a single damn thing. It still doesn't really it doesn't soften that blow of like, why the hell won't you just give it an idea of why you're leaving, why you have to burn the bridge that much. But either way, it gives an explanation of why Sakiko did what she did, why she left her original band group and decided to make her own band, which does seem like an interesting take on the whole concept, because unlike with the original Bang Dream, a lot of the focus was them being a standard band. It's a bunch of girls together, they each have their own instruments, they play music in front on a stage. With Sakiko's, she's making a performance. It's very much so performance arts with the band itself, because yes, they do music, but they are doing a stage show. And the whole concept is that she and the other band members are dolls, and they're not human, and they're on the stage to perform and whatnot. So they'll act like this whole thing out about how they're dolls and how they're performing their thing, and then they'll play a song. Well, she brings upon with her Musumi, who was in the first season, that we had her own problems, and several other ones. And what happens very quickly is, after we get the whole story about Sakiko and how her father is like, they lost the mother, and the father's not in a good situation, and he's basically doing nothing but drinking himself, and she's trying to take care of him. They've lost all their fortune. She tries to give on a perspective to everybody that she's still from this prominent family and very rich, but she's going home to this apartment where her father is just a deadbeat, and she's trying to support him. And so she's got like the issues with that home that she's dealing with, but at the same time, she's trying to make it big over here in order to help him out. And it's a really good story. I do like Sakiko's story a lot. The problem that I'm having with this season is, this is probably going to tick off a lot of people. It's just nothing but, I have no other word for it, so I'm going to have to blurp it out. Bitching. It's just constantly them bitching. It's like, it's nothing but these characters constantly bickering at each other, and it's like, it's exhausting. Like, I get drama, I get struggles, but my gosh, I think we've gotten, 6 episodes at this point, and how many episodes we're at now? We're 4 episodes in. It feels like 6. It feels like 6. Every episode, but maybe a fraction, maybe 10 minutes of one of the episodes is nothing but bickering back and forth constantly. And it's like, you guys either kill each other or break up or move on. And then finally they get to this point where finally something happens, which is my other issue with this season. Something finally happens. One of the characters significantly changes. And suddenly they're all friends again. And Sakiko doesn't like that they're suddenly not bickering. It's like, finally they stop bickering, and now Sakiko is like, why you stop bickering? Why are you guys being nice now? And it's like, girl, you cannot be happy. Shut up. Shut up. They're not bickering anymore. Shut up. Let me. Mutsumi's story. Mutsumi's story is probably the other big story in this whole concept here. Again, it opens up with Sakiko's story, what she's going through. The band's together, they're doing their performance, and then crazy stuff happens with Mutsumi. And Mutsumi is like this character that has always been in the storyline as somebody who is very passive, very quiet, doesn't really say what she wants, much the melodramatic frustration of characters in the first season and now in the second season. And then finally, at some point, because she's so stressed out about what's going on with Sakiko, like everything that's happening to Sakiko, she sees it. And she's the only one that knows about what's happening with Sakiko, and it's literally destroying her. And it gets to the point where, out of nowhere, she collapses on stage. Like, literally, she just drops onto a chair and's dead-eye looking at the sky. And everybody they just walk off the stage and leave her there. Like, they're trying to play it off like it's part of the story, so Sakiko's like, oh, well, I guess she's not going to do this, and she literally walks off the stage. So everybody came to the performance, the crowd's there, Sakiko and the rest of Mujica, they get on the stage, they all start their performance, again, where they're all acting like dolls. Mutsumi literally collapses on a chair over here. Collapses. Dead stare in the... No emotion. Just dead stare up in the air. And they all realize it. Everybody's like, holy crap, what's happened to her? Sakiko goes, performance, blah, 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 blah. And then they all walk off the stage. And everybody's cheering like, holy crap, what a performance. She's just sitting there, a doll that is broken and staring. And the lights turn off. And everybody's like, amazing show. They're getting rave reviews. You're telling me people paid for a ticket, came to that performance. No, they could have probably had like other performers there. I'm not sure. They came there and literally that was their performance, was like 10 seconds of talking before they walk off the stage, and Mutsumi just sits there staring up. Like, why is this their big knockout moment? And then there's the other concern that I have, like, you guys literally left this girl on the stage when she literally collapsed. Like, she could be having a stroke. And they all left her on the stage like that? What the hell's wrong with you people? You're all... It's so melodrama. Like, oh, the Bang Dream's so freaking melodrama. And there's a side of me that kind of likes it, but there's a side of me that's like, it's exhausting. Like I said, the first season, everything around like Soyo and Sakiko and constantly wanting her to join the group and figure out why Sakiko left, it was like, this is so exhausting. This season, it's like nothing but that. Like, they're constantly, literally trying to kill each other. And for some reason, she's got this chick, I think it was Nami.
Out of pure morbid curiosity, after the event is over, did the girl come back, or is she like...
Right? I was hoping you wouldn't ask. Well, no, that's the funny thing, because it's like, it just cuts to now she's sitting in the green room with them, and they're all going, what happened, Mutsumi? And it's like... So I'm guessing somebody went out there and willed her out of there. I'm guessing she regained consciousness and walked out. And then we have like literally a couple of episodes later on, suddenly she like has like a split personality while suddenly like this other self takes over for her. And everybody's not bickering for once. And she's like super bubbly. And they're all acting like it was a part of her whole performance. They think that she's just was acting the entire time. I'm like, nobody's asking any questions about what's going on with this girl. Like, do you guys... yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that'll leave comments that this is like the issue with Japan and not really paying much attention to the psychological state of people and not being all about psychology. It's there. But I guess I can give it that, but it's like, this is some ramped up stuff. And I do hurt for Mutsumi. Like, her story is like super freaking effed up. And I'm very curious how they can play it off, but... It's just like the lead up to it is like is what really grates me. So like overall the show's good. It's just I'm struggling with just way too much bickering. The bickering's so freaking exhausting at this point, mainly because it's bickering and it doesn't feel like there's much value to it. Like, I understand why everybody is upset about the situation, but I don't need to see it like every freaking episode. I'm tired of it. just either kill each other, or, which I'm pretty sure at this point somebody's probably gonna end up dead. They freaking hate each other that much. Somebody's probably gonna end up dead. We'll see though. It's super melodrama band girls. If you like that stuff, get it. It's there. Anyways, I think I've made enough people mad. We have some big Bang Dream fans. So if you guys like Bang Dream, we have quite a bit of a fandom in our Discord if you want some people to talk to about that show. Momentary Lily, Chris. Let's talk about the other show that has lots of CGI. Momentary Lily. The Gohan's show, Chris. Momentary Lily. This one is done by Studio Gohan's. Sources original writing and directing done by the team that worked on Masterful Cat and Handshakers. Girl, I forgot her glasses. Project Scared. This one opens up in a world where mankind, well, these crafts appeared and in the skies, and then they were projecting these big monsters that if any humans got next to them, they would just disappear. And of course, mankind's weapons didn't work against it, and all of mankind's basically disappeared at this point. We jump to a group of girls that have somehow managed to survive in this whole setting, staying away from the monsters. Eventually, I don't know how they got the weapons, but apparently they're getting the weapons from the monsters and then using those monsters to protect themselves from being erased by the monsters and fighting back against the monsters. All the while, little robots are kind of spread around the world. The robots don't seem like to have anything to do with the monster robots that are showing up to attack them, so they're kind of chill with them. And the girls are just trying to enjoy their day, and every now and then these monsters will show up, and they go over there and they fight them, destroy them, and then take parts from them in order to make more weapons. And eventually we jump to a girl named Renge, who she's been traveling alone ever since everybody disappeared. She has no memory of her past before the whole attack, and she eventually stumbles upon this group of girls, starts hanging out with them and making noodles and food and talking about stuff. And then monsters show up again and they fight the monsters, and then they eat food again. And then they fight monsters and they eat food again. So what's your thoughts on Momentary Lily so far? Before it got super dark. You like your Madoka Magica moment? It's dark.
So I gave Gohan's another try. And they're still flashy. They're still crazy flashy.
The lens flare filter, dude. It was so funny because it's like one of those ones. I honestly didn't really notice it when I was watching it. I didn't notice. It wasn't until I went to go, because for those who don't know, I of course watched the show and I'm taking screenshots the entire time. And then after the show ends, I alter all the screenshots, get rid of ones that I accidentally get subtitles on or whatever. And then I will put those in a slideshow on my video as I'm talking about it. And I didn't notice it until I go to go flip through all the images. Every freaking shot has that same rainbow glare and the lens flare coming in with the little rainbow lens flare on there. Every single freaking shot. And I'm like, holy crap, it was that bad. I didn't even notice it. I don't know what they put more effort into, the lens flares and rainbows or Etika's bob physics.
I mean, the show looks good. I mean, it
looks
just
really good. The hair looks really good.
The hair is gorgeous. I mean,
the character designs are fantastic.
Yeah,
just that. Everything else, no.
I don't know what the heck the weird creature things are, but hey, whatever. They need something to fight.
It's like UFOs have appeared, and they're like, and they have like these blow up dolls that they like they put flesh into, and it just turns into this massive person blow up doll, and then it attacks people.
But outside of that, I mean, the story seems okay. I don't want to kind of jump on it right away. It's interesting. It's one of those, you got the girls in the middle of nowhere, and your obvious question is what happened? Why are they there? Blah blah blah. And you're kind of wanting to see, okay, give me a little bit more. But as it stands right now, it's just can't really call it cute girls doing cute things because they're trying to survive. So I'll just go with it.
I do give it a little bit of credit because like the whole situation with Etika where she was literally like ticked off at them for like abandoning her. I was like, oh wow, there's character depth. There's depth here. She suddenly is showing like this true sign of her where she's actually like, I guess that whole thing does kind of give me a little bit of promise. What they've basically established from the first episode is that you have every character is kind of an archetype. Like Yuri is the Genki girl. Let's all do it together. Let's go. Ikkyo. She's the Genki girl. Erika is the big sis. She's the one that every 2 seconds she's saying how big sis is going to help you out. Big sis will give you some advice. Big sis has got this. Big sis. I'm big sis. Big sis, by the way. You have like the cool girl, which is Ayame. She's like the cool and collected character that seems like she doesn't communicate properly, and she's at least she scares Renge really quickly. So they're kind of giving this impression that she's kind of harsh coming across, but she's just cool. Hina, she's she's the gamer girl. Everything that she talks about is about gaming. All she wants to do is gaming. I don't want to bother with that because I want to play my game. Everything has to be about a debuff or a buff. So if she's talking about something might affect her, that's a debuff. Oh, I'm drinking this energy drink because I need a buff. She's just a gamer girl. And then Sanzaka, she's all about beauty. She probably wants to be an idol or something like that. So she's all about beauty and whatnot. Obviously, Chris's draw to watch the show because she's voiced by Tama. They each have an archetype. And then the new girl's Renge, and she's basically the super timid girl that is, afraid and whatnot. And I think the whole thing with Erika later on, where she literally is drawing the enemy's attention while everybody else goes to where the point they need to go to, because typically this one area, there's always 2 of these monsters, and they're just afraid they can't take on 2. So Erika goes over here to kind of draw their attention, and she ends up getting swarmed by the 2. And she gets in this whole state where she's suddenly like, where is everybody? They're taking too long. They've abandoned me. How dare you abandon me? And she starts getting angry. Like, she gets like super angry, and she's crying. She's yelling out for her mom, and it's like, suddenly the character that's always like, I'll take care of you, I'm big sis, I'm going to protect everybody, gambare, I'll take care of them, give you advice. Suddenly she's going, you guys abandoned me, and I hate you guys, you abandoned me, how dare you do that, mom. And it's like, okay, cool. Maybe there's like some good writing here somewhere. Maybe we can do something with this. I don't know. I mean, because it seemed like the next episode went right back to status quo. They were doing something with Ayame and everybody, so I don't know. There's like a semblance of possibility there, but for the most part, I think my biggest issue that I've had for the show so far is it's like they're their archetypes, and they talk about food and nothing about their archetypes. Like, there's no substance here, and I think that's the biggest problem that I have. It's mostly just, let's make food, let's go to this next place, let's talk about food again. Oh yeah, by the way, Renge apparently doesn't remember a thing before the invasion, so obviously, and she has a weapon. And apparently you can only get the weapons from destroyed weapons or monsters. So I don't know how they all got their weapons, but she's got one. She doesn't know where it came from, but she can summon it. She's probably from the monsters, I'm going to guess. I don't know. We'll see. What happens to people when they get attacked by these monsters and disappear? Are they going to another world? Are they being sucked in the machines? Are they going to be able to get them back out? I don't know. Did Yuri? Yeah, the big plot twist, by the way, twist. The big plot twist at the end of the 3rd episode was that, yeah, Yuri protects Erika and ends up croaking. She didn't disappear, right? She just bled out.
I'm pretty sure.
See, that's the question mark that I wonder if she will come back at that point, unless, again, it goes in that whole thing where the big twist is that they're the only ones that are not on Earth. Like, they're somewhere else, like a parallel of the universe that they were in originally, so they technically can't die over there, or maybe they have to go back home through the robots. I don't know. I guess they could do something with her character, but if I remember correctly, she was in the PV when they went to the spa, and we haven't seen that yet, so it kind of is spoiling me. Spoiler, the PV spoiled me, because I think I'm pretty sure that Yuri was in the PV, right?
I don't remember.
Maybe she wasn't. Now I'm starting to question that. Maybe she is dead. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know that this show will actually. I don't think they're going to keep to it. I really don't. Unless she just shows up at the very end to help them in spirit or some crap. I don't know. I just don't think that the rest of the characters there can really kind of carry it. I think Erika has a lot of personality with her that I'm enjoying. I don't find the other characters to be all that full of life. Yeah, like, they're just so boring. Much. I mean,
outside of her little quirky, I don't remember exactly what she was doing, but pom 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 or something like that. She was constantly going on about pom pom, but she was really the one that was driving the group. So
She was all about let's work together but not be friends because we might disappear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, I think visually it's working for me. The combat sequences suck. That's really the only thing that I don't really care much for. They're a lot better than like with handshakers and stuff, but they still have the same problem that Gohan's has had recently with their combat sequences, where like the characters themselves look great, and their ability to keep them animated, and again the hairs are freaking crazy. The characters themselves are really well stylized in the combat sequences. The problem that I have with the combat sequences is that they're always on a CGI background and they're just flipping around like crazy. And it gets to that point where I don't even know what they're doing. Like it's cool boom booms, but I don't have a grasp of what exactly they're doing. I just know they're running here. Now here they're flipping around the air, I guess. Okay, she sliced something. I don't know what she sliced. Maybe the leg of the monster. It's just all over the place. The perspective and what's actually happening, they don't have a semblance of what the hell's going on, and it just distills down to literally just slashing and shooting, and there's no real kind of strategy to the fight itself or substance to the fight itself. It's just, I guess they beat up the monster.
It's chaotic.
Yeah, there's no value to it, and that's the unfortunate thing. Everything outside of the
first
fight
time
itself,
I seen anything that resembled an actual something is happening was with the Erica part.
Erica, yeah. Erica, like even the first episode, Erica comes in there and she's the shielder. So she jumps out there and boosh, shoots at the shield. It blocks him. You can see what's happening because she's not flipping and dipping everywhere.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, technically when she is stalling the things later on, you get a full sense of what she's doing because she has to sit still and block things, and she's shielding herself from two targets, and it gives something there. But everybody else, I mean, yeah, technically Senzaka, she's shooting something. I don't know what she's shooting, but she's over here and she's shooting. But it's like everybody else, it's like it's too chaotic to get a sense of what's going on. Renge's surfboarding around the air, I guess. But everything outside the fights themselves, I think it looks really good. I think again, I've always liked Gohan's for their stylized way of making characters and drawing the characters. I've always liked their experimentation. The backgrounds and visuals are not like artistic in any way. It's kind of just a plain city most of the time, which, I mean, they're in the city. But there's not really much to kind of go on visually when they're just rendering a damn CGI town and throw it in the background. There's no life to it or anything, which makes sense because post-apocalyptic, everybody's gone. There's no life. There's no life in the world. I don't know if they can do something with it. I'm still gonna watch it. I do like Gohan's creativity. I came to the show with no expectations because the writer wrote Handshakers and Project Scarred, and both of those shows sucked for story wise. So I don't have an expectation the story's gonna be good, but I don't know. Maybe they'll. I think if we're this far into the show, I don't think it's gonna go anywhere, but we'll see. If anything, watch the show for Erica's boobs, because they're all over the place. I posted on Twitter. They had like the preview for the next episode. It just shows Erica running, like just sprinting, and it's just like, and it's like these like 3 shots of her running, like from the side, dead on, and then from like the side, and then I just took that clip and I literally just put it on repeat and I put the OP onto that. I just posted on Twitter. It's literally just her running and it's in a loop, and it just perfectly all lines with itself. So it's literally a minute and 30 seconds of Erica running with these things just going up and down. It's like they have a mind of their own. Literally, like, that's not even the worst of it. Like, there was one shot where they're all sitting at this table, and she barely turns like this, and it goes. I'm like, how? Like, where's the physics here? Gohan, chill, Gohan. That's too much. Like, there's a point where it's too much. Half the audience is like, no, it's not enough. More Gohans, more. There's like a group of people like, no, we're watching this for that. Screw you, Andrew. Now I'm kind of curious if that was in the PV. I almost want to check the PV and see if she's in there. Well, I guess I'll check afterwards. I don't want to spoil it for people. The fact that I'm bringing up that she's in the PV might spoil it for people that she doesn't stay dead. You know, thinking back on it, I don't think she was there. I don't know. That's Momentary Lily. Your Gohan's bob and hair show for the season. So it's all right so far. I wouldn't push anybody to go watch it though. That's the problem. Did you say that you watched the girl in my class I hated? I'm married.
No.
You gonna watch it? Do 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 do.
No, I did watch it. Because that was the one where the grandpa and the grandma make them get married.
Mm-hmm. I'm getting married to the girl I hate in my class, or class no daikirai na joshi to kekkon suru koto ni nata. This one's streaming on Crunchyroll, running for 12 episodes, done by Studio Gokumi and Axis. That's a wonderful combination there. Source is it all makes sense suddenly. The source is a light novel. Genres are comedy, romance. This one opens up with Saito Hojo, and he has this girl in his class, Akane Tsukurumori, and they just hate each other. They're always competing with each other. They can't stand each other. And then, yeah, like Chris already spoiled, at some point they get called over. She gets called by her grandmother to go meet up somewhere. He gets called by his grandfather to go meet somewhere. Come to find out their grandparents know each other. They're kind of hitting off with each other, actually. And they basically tell them, you're going to get married. The grandfather tells Saito that he has to get married to Akane, otherwise he won't give him his business, the company, the family fortune. And he really needs it for a certain purpose, which I don't think he even mentioned yet. He just really he needs it. Because I know the cousin at some point was saying, I know your plans and you need to have this, so you have to do this kind of thing. He needs it for some reason, so he's kind of pushed that he has to do this marriage that grandfather wants. The grandmother of Akane, she whispers in her ear and she blushes for a second and then decides to go along with it. So we don't really know what her whole thing is yet, or I don't, as far as I gotten. So yeah, they have to now live together. They're kind of being forced to have to live together as well. And so they're constantly at each other's throats, trying to figure out how to coexist in the house. While at the same time, Saito's cousin is sniffing it out because apparently all she's got to do is bite him in the neck and she'll figure it out. There's a Gyaru girl at their class that seems like she's starting to sniff it out. And yeah, they're constantly bickering at each other at home. So what's your thoughts on I'm getting married to the girl I hate in my class?
I'm kind of liking that they're finally starting to at least acknowledge each other's existence, and it's not as frustrating as it was in... See, it seems like the first... I mean, I got the joke at the beginning. Okay, so they don't like each other. And then he kind of starts to ease off of each other, and they kind of start coming together, and so it seems like that at least that part is over. And I think that's really kind of what I want to see is more the relationship as it kind of eases into each other a bit more, before I because I want to see their chemistry in general. My main thing is I don't really think that she hates him as much as she's letting on. And
they've already indicated that she likes him.
Yeah, and at the same time, I mean, they did finally reveal what it was her reasoning for doing it. I can't remember off the top of my head. This show is so...
Well, they've always competed with each other. That was the initial idea that they kind of presented, is that they're always about competing.
Yeah, it's one of those. I
wanted to say my speculation that I had from the very beginning when the grandmother whispered in her ear was going to be probably that the grandmother knew who Saito was, and it was probably somebody that Akane just forgot about or something like that. And so she probably told him, "Oh, Saito's this person that you liked back in the day," and that probably flustered her.
I'm of two minds of this show. I kind of like it, and at the same time, I'm just not feeling the chemistry between those two characters at the moment. And I want to give it a little bit more time. So as it is right now, I kind of like it, and I'm warm to it.
I hate the two of them. Like, I legit hate the two of them. She's probably like the worst tsundere I've ever seen in one of these shows. Like, it kind of goes like with the whole thing with Bang Dream of Mujica. It's like it's just nothing but just constantly. You're supposed to do this, clean up after this. It's like it like for the first episode, like most of the first episode was just nothing but her getting onto him for not paying attention to what he's doing, and then just constantly bickering at him, and him constantly going, this is not that big of a deal, or it's not this or that and that. She's constantly just turned in like the massive like
the
helicopter
juice,
wife.
The juice was absolutely fantastic. It threw her for such a loop. I loved it.
It's like a massive helicopter wife moment. The only thing I've liked about the first like 3 or 4 episodes that I've watched at this point, I've gotten as far as Shisei's episode where she comes to the house. That's literally the only episode I liked, was Shisei's episode. Like, Shisei's the only character in this entire show that I actually like. Like, I can't stand Akane. I think Saito's boring as hell. The chemistry between Saito and Akane is nearly non-existent. I've only had like maybe 2 scenes where I kind of got a little chuckle out of, like the whole like, you know, be okay. Don't get mad if we touch each other in the bed. And the me watching, I immediately know what Saito's saying is like, if we accidentally bump up against each other in the middle of the night, like if I just roll over and accidentally, you know, my hand grazes you, don't smack me. And she later on when they go to bed, she literally like, okay, go ahead, you could touch me. And it's like, girl, that's not what he was talking about. It's like, it was a brief moment of like a chuckle, because it's like it seems like it's like pushing the misunderstanding to like a massive degree to where it's absurd that she would even think that. And I got a chuckle out of it. That's pretty much it. Like their chemistry just sucks, like through and through. The only enjoyment I've gotten out of this entire show is finally having somebody else join the picture, and that was Shisei. Now bringing Shisei into the house, suddenly like things work, and like it's suddenly funny and it's suddenly entertaining, and she's going in there and she's literally like, the first thing she does is pick up Saito's underwear and literally sniffs it in front of him and goes, damn, they're clean, all I can smell is the fabric softener. And literally she's like, okay, let me check Akane's room for the ghost, because they apparently think there's a ghost. And then Akane's like, no, you're gonna look for my underwear. And she's like, no. And she immediately goes in there, and I'm like, she's gonna find underwear, isn't she? Like Shisei was funny, like the big reveal that she gives of, okay, I know what's actually haunting the house, and it's just like this completely blank stare when she just lays it out there, and it's like, wow. So the writer knows how to make funny comedy, because everything before this has basically been Akane constantly either flustered and doki doki, or yelling about not putting this up when you're done with it, or playing too many video games, or I don't know, it doesn't work. Like overall, I think their chemistry just does not work for me. And it sucks because, again, she's a Zendaya character. I should like her. I should love her. But she's just such a... I think it's because the writing around it is just not... It's not good. It's not clever. The comedy's not clever. There's no punchline build-ups. It's just constantly just bickering and getting on to him about things. And there's no build up to a joke. It's just, the joke is that she's mad that he's not doing this, or she's mad that he calls the food fusu is too normal, whatever. Yeah, it's got some heartwarming moments here and there. Like, yeah, eventually when they come to an agreement with each other and kind of working and helping each other out. But overall, I just think their chemistry sucks. I think that's really the thing. So,
you didn't like the juice box?
Yeah, I mean, Shisei's drinking out of his juice box, you mean?
No, he had the entire refrigerator full of the
oh yeah, his dietary plan is to literally just like make a freaking protein shake at the end. Like you could just eat whatever you want and then have protein shake. She's like, that's not how it works. She's like, literally, that's not how it works. Yeah, I think that was the other funny moment that I was trying to think of, but not many. I'm kind of hoping that the Gyaru is similar to Shisei, because Shisei's great. Like Shisei's literally like, she comes in the picture and she's literally like, something's going on with Saito, and she's like, I know everything about Saito. Like she is. They kind of, I don't know if they're being serious.
They're implying that she likes him. Yeah.
I don't know if they're being serious, but they were implying the idea that ever since she was born, she's been at his side. Like they've always been attached to each other. Like there was for some reason she has been finding most of her time Saito taking care of her. Mm-hmm. So it kind of implies this idea that probably like her family's had issues or whatever, and she's always kind of found safety with him or something like that. But like everything about Saito she knows. Like she said, like literally in the first episode, whatever you're planning on doing, I'll always be at your side. Like this girl's like attached to him at the hip. But unfortunately she's a cousin, so she's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. But no, like they like imply this idea like she knows everything about him, so he can't keep a secret at all. So like literally the next day after they kind of have to start living together, she immediately starts smelling, like I smell something on you. And she literally bites his neck and somehow gets some information out of him that that he's possibly married just by biting him in the neck, and then starts to blackmail him with that information. It's dorky. Like Shisei's literally carrying it for me right now. I'm hoping the same thing will be with the Gyaru.
Yeah. Well, the Gyaru is what I was talking about. I think they were implying that the Gyaru likes him.
Yeah, I think everybody in the end is going to like him, obviously. But yeah, she's already got a sense of like, she's asking, are you seeing somebody, basically? Like are you going out with Akane? I wonder why she's asking that. So I'll be interested to see if the Gyaru can give a little bit of chemistry in there. So far, I really haven't seen much of her. And then I think we have like a sister character of Akane, or maybe a cousin of Akane that maybe will show up eventually. Maybe she'll be fun as well. Because Akane is not doing it. That's really my. I'm gonna keep watching the show, but if it's literally gonna be one of those things where whenever Akane is on the scene with him, I'm probably gonna be mostly checking out. Like I'm just really watching the show to see the other characters. And I think I said that I want to say that I said that in the preview when we were talking about it. I'm like, I'm curious if this will be one of those ones where the side characters carry it. Because I think I got that impression from the PV, like, oh, she's not fun. Oh, Shisei's fun. Oh, this guy's fun. Of course, in the PV we had the bite. We had this Shisei bite. No, I was thinking like when you talk about the whole juice thing, he's literally sitting on this bench talking about what's going on with him and Akane, and Shisei's just like it's the one shot is him literally talking like, yeah, we're having this problem right now, and the shot just literally cuts out, and she's just literally he's got the juice on his leg and he's holding it, and she's just down there drinking it. And like there's another scene like in the previous episode before then where literally they're sitting on the bench as well, and she's got this massive melon pond, and she's just hump, and it cuts to him for like a second, and then and you hear one more hump, and it comes back and it shoots back out, and it's done. Yeah. Like she literally ate like 98% of it in one like hump. Girl just eats. Again, Shisei makes the show. Like without Shisei, I would be dropping the show so freaking fast. Who is she voiced? I want to say that she's familiar. Girl I hate in my class. I think the other troubling thing that I have is I think this is probably one of those shows where I doubt we'll get to really anything of substance in this season. I know one of the shows this season that I was talking about, some people were saying it doesn't go anywhere. I don't think it was this one, though. And not that I think this will go anywhere. Nene Heida. I don't see any that jump out at me. She's just like literally this season, she's got like 4 shows that she's doing. She's the gnome and salaryman, headhunted salaryman. And she's not Roxy in A Rank Party. She's literally just like this season. She's like nothing but this season. Oh, she was the crazy time girl in the slave show. And she was Doki-chan from Ganbare Doki-chan. Anyways, that is I'm getting married to the girl that I hate in my class. Princess lessons. Here's a shocker for the season. I want to escape from princess lessons. This is like one of a few shows that I was actually very much so surprised that I ended up liking. I have my reservations, but I'm enjoying it. I want to escape from princess lessons, or Kisaki Kyoiku Kara Nigetai Watashi. This one's streaming on Crunchyroll and for 12 episodes, done by EMT Squared. Source of the light novel. Genres are comedy, fantasy, and romance. This one opens up with Letitia. At a very young age, her parents confronted her and they told her, look, you're getting married, so you're going to have to move away. So even as she was like freaking 4 or something like that, she gets shipped off to the palace where she is put in front of this instructor, and this instructor basically instills upon her training to become basically a refined lady, like a princess, basically. like princess lessons. And so it's like literally every day she's scared. She wants her family. She's alone. She's in a dark place. Constantly every day waking up to just constant rigorous training over and over again. Say this, stand this way, move this way, over and over again until she grows up, is in her teens. And at that point, she goes to the ball where she is the beautiful Letitia. And everybody is like, oh, there she is. And she's just so graceful coming into the ball. Comes before the prince, and the prince has another lady standing at his side. And she's like, wait, Prince, is this what it means? And he's like, yeah. And then she just like suddenly just starts cheering in the middle of the ball. She's like, hell yeah, finally, I'm done. I don't have to be princess anymore. And she runs over to her brother and she's like, you promised, because at some point apparently she confronted her brother like, hey, if I don't get married with him, can I leave this damn place? And apparently he agreed to it. So she's like, you gotta keep your promise. We're getting the hell out of here. I'm done with this. And so they end up leaving. The prince tries to stop her on the way out, but she's like, oh, that's fine. You be happy. You're good. You be happy with that girl. I'm perfectly fine. No problem. Peace out. She goes back to her hometown, where she's finally able to be normal again. Go and, hang out with the commoners, go fishing, just have fun, enjoy life. And eventually, suddenly out of nowhere, the prince shows up. And he wants to drag her back to the palace. And it kind of gives a sense that the prince probably seen her and she was always kind of just stiff and no emotion because she was trained that way. And then finally, now that she kind of had that outburst, suddenly he has like this keen interest in her. And now he's watching her and she's, again, having fun and mingling amongst the commoners, and looks like she's having a lot of fun, and he just really badly wants her to be his wife. And so he told his father that no matter what, she's not going to do princess lessons anymore. I'm going to bring her back to the palace. I want to make her my wife. If you get in the way of it, Dad, I'm basically not giving you a grandchild. So the king's kind of like, yeah, okay, you do what you want to do. And yeah, Letitia doesn't want to have anything to do with it. She's constantly trying to escape. And that's the gist. It's the gist of the show. Yeah, at some point she tried to get away, and the lady that was with him, the prince, she got pulled into the whole princess lesson stuff. And she immediately was like, she ran off to find Letitia to say, you have to go back. I don't want to be in front of that crazy lady anymore. Which is kind of funny because the instructor didn't look like she was abusive, but she was just very strict. And so I'm kind of waiting for that old lady to be nice. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure that the old lady's probably going to end up being a nice lady at some point.
Like I said, I took a mental note of that. I'm like, I don't think she ever struck her. It was just Letitia was scared. Like she was just scared a lonely little kid.
I really do like this show. There's something about Letitia that's really, honestly, just
Bank. Fourth wall breaking, Chris. The stupid little chime whenever she does that. So stupid.
Yeah, that is kind of
Bank. Well, he's actually pretty hot. Bank. Man, I can't wait to do this whole thing. Like, why? That's like so random. This most random. It's this like elegant show. Medieval times. Bank. Fourth wall breaking. Sorry.
But outside of that, okay, let's go ahead and pick that up and move it over here.
Bang. Let's move it off the side. Sorry. I'd do it one more time.
But no, the show, Letitia is genuinely a inviting
She's so
character.
fun, dude.
She is.
She's literally carrying it.
Clark, I think, is going to be an interesting character. I do honestly think that he just genuinely likes her. He probably seen her gallivanting around as a youngin', and it's told Daddy, hey, I want her. And now she's kind of just stuck in this situation. And he genuinely got this, oh yeah, that's who I fell in love with when I was a kid, at that moment. And he just wants to see her in her element. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of balance between her and her liveliness versus the princess lessons. And I think it'll be fun to see where that all goes.
No, he said there was no more princess lessons.
It's probably in this week's episode that I missed. So,
oh, it's when he got her back to the palace. He said, I told Dad that because he brought her to that little garden that he had made for her. because he's seen that her element in the nature, and he's like, yeah, I had daddy make me a little area just for you, and I told him no more princess lessons, otherwise I won't give a grandchild. So I guess that was like the whole thing. So she's not escaping from princess lessons anymore. She's escaping from being the princess. Or technically the queen is not really princess. She can't become the princess. She's got to become the queen. So she can't become the princess. Anyways, that's I love Letitia. She is a lot of fun. I do like her chemistry with. I think her chemistry with Nader, her brother, because he's all like all business, like get stuff done. It's all he's basically using his sister in a way to kind of get buddy with the king. Like she even throws that back in his face at some point, but he's like just kind of looking out for his own good. But there's still kind of a give and take between him and Letitia that I do really like, despite the fact that you can probably see that as kind of a nasty thing. I like Lily as well. I like at some point the moment that the prince is like, literally, I want to bring you back with me. Letitia runs and she says, because she at that point believed that the marriage was off. Like I seen him with this other lady, and he literally told me that, yeah, it was off, that he was cheating on me basically, and I left, and I could move on with my life. And she comes rushing back because literally he's like, no, it was never called off. Yeah. You misunderstood me or whatever. And so she runs back home and gets the confirmation there from the brother basically saying, yeah, it was never called off.
Did you actually hear him say?
And she turns to Lily and she's like, literally, Lily, let's run away and get married. And she's like, ma'am, I'm a woman. That's okay. I'm a commoner, but I'm a woman. You can't work. It's okay. We could get married. Let's get married together. And like Lily's like sitting there shooting her down. It was like, I love the two of them. Like, just get the two of them married. Yeah, her chemistry with Lily, and which kind of sucks because I think the last episode I watched, they had a new maid, so Lily's out of the picture, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, speaking of his fourth wall breaking, that entire scene, that was so annoying. They rewound it, rewind.
Oh yeah, over and over again. My issue is Clark. Kind of like he is kind of a dirtbag. Like there's a side of me that thinks like, now he's kind of doing things to kind of remedy a little bit there, but the dude comes on way too strong. Like this dude is, and this is probably to the audience that it's going for. A lot of this audience really likes the very pushy male character. He is super pushy. Like he is, press up against her in the cart where she can't get away, constantly stealing her away to take her back to the king, despite the fact that she's never agreed to it. Like it's literally, you have no choice, Letitia. You are going to marry the prince, which obviously was from the very beginning. And it's common for the setting that it is in. The fact that she was taken from her family at the age of like 4 and thrown into the palace from the very beginning is unfortunately the timeline there. So there's no really getting around. There's no beating around the bush there. It's literally, this is what she has to do. But it's like to make me like him in spite of that's the problem. And I don't really find myself liking him overall yet. It seems like she's starting to like him, and that's really a lot to do with the fact that, yeah, he's freaking hot. And yes, he's technically the prince. So there's like everything you really want is right there. And so she likes the aura around him. It's just that she doesn't really want love right now. Like she just doesn't understand what love is. She doesn't really care for it right now. She just wants to have fun and do whatever she wants to do. But yeah, so there's going to take some time for me to ever actually care about Clark at all or understand why she likes him at all. But for now, I get a kick out of Letitia. I do find her a very charming character. She's got a spunk to her. She just wants to be left alone. Again, the stupid fourth wall breaking constantly, technically most of the time, hits for me. Rarely does it do that, and I kind of go, okay, stop doing that. Which I think a lot of other shows that kind of have that little dialogue moments kind of bug me. I don't know. I think it's working for me. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. I do think that there is an issue, because I sort of said the same thing in my top 10 list for the season so far. This is one of them, and I even said there where I have a struggle with the fact that it's a funny show, but at the same time, it does feel like he is kind of a dirtbag. That there is an element that you kind of have to force yourself to acknowledge that this is a comedy, first and foremost. And so you don't want to take it too seriously to the fact that, yes, he's technically keeping her hostage until she agrees to love him. And just to accept that it is the circumstances of it that is supposed to be funny. Despite the fact that the show literally opens up with a very kind of dark setup with her being like literally traumatized and thrown into this freaking palace. It is still technically supposed to be a comedy, so it's like, don't take it too seriously that Clark is literally trying to force her to accept him through just, I don't know, what's the term?
Stockholm?
Yeah, Stockholm syndrome situation here. Just force her to love me. It's goofy. In the end, it's goofy, and I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. So, bam, it's a pretty good show. Bam. What do you think, Chris? Bam. Is it a good show, Chris?
Yeah, it's fine.
Anyways, killed my joke. Killed my joke. We're going to skip Medalist for now because I told Chris that he has to watch it. You haven't watched Okitsura yet. You're going to watch that, right? Tan Girls?
Tan Girls?
The Tan Girls show? Okinawa show?
No,
You know you're not going to watch it?
I don't know.
Do you like trivia for Okinawa? Because that's literally what the show is. It's Okinawa trivia.
Yeah, I'm not really
With
interested.
Tan Girls. And Milipenzi, our beloved studio Milipenzi. Okitsura fell in love with an Okinawan girl, but I just wish I knew what she was saying. Okinawa de Suki ni nata ko ga Hogen Sugite Shura Sugiru. This one's streaming on Crunchyroll for 12 episodes, done by Milipenzi, the great studio that worked on such great titles as Copcraft, Cheat Skill, and Soma Spider, So What? And yes, the Berserk remake, or sequel rather. Anyways, was it 2016? Was the first new Berserk? I think it was 2016. Anyways, this one follows Teruaki, who again he at some point moves from Tokyo out to Okinawa, and at some point when he arrives there, he quickly falls in love with a girl named Hina in his class. And she is super cute. She constantly runs up and talks to him, even though he was kind of a little bit, coming to a new school, a little offset there. She immediately confronted him. She's super positive, very inviting. Only problem is, like the title leads you to believe, he doesn't know a damn thing she's saying because she has like a very, very heavy Okinawan speech. Because obviously they were originally like their own tribe or whatever, and so a lot of words and whatnot are not really technically in the common Japanese language. So a lot of what she's saying, while yes, some of it is Japanese that he understands, a lot of it is, obviously dialect and Okinawan that he doesn't understand. Thankfully, another girl who he ran into her before he started school there. And she very quickly kind of had feelings for him. She decides to push herself to confront him while he's in class, struggling over what the hell Hina's saying, to translate for him. So Kana's always there at his side to kind of go, oh, Hina is saying this. So because she knows both. She knows she's very fluent in Japanese, but she knows a lot of the dialogue and dialect and whatnot in this area. And so she's able to kind of translate a lot of that stuff. And so there's a lot of cultural stuff that come up that she's kind of bringing up. And she's constantly there to kind of describe what's going on with it. And it's just kind of teriyaki as he's constantly trying to, get up the courage to tell Hina that he likes her, or getting jealous thinking that Hina might like somebody else. All the while, Kana's at the side kind of going, oh, does Teriyaki like Hina? I wish that he'd look at me, blah, 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 blah. That's basically the gist. And like I said before, and I was kind of joking about before I even started this whole thing, it's basically Okinawa 101. Like every episode is just like, oh, in Okinawa they do this, and there's a tradition for this, and they like to fish like this, and oh yeah, this word actually means this, and oh yeah, they have this tradition. Oh, here's the dance that they always do. And oh yeah, whenever they hear this song, they just can't help but dancing. And oh yeah, when they bring up this, if you ever bring up a food that somebody doesn't recognize, that's not from the area, everybody wants to make it for you, and so everybody rushes home to make that same food so they can all together have you experience it for the first time. And there's the festival that they have in Okinawa, and they do this as well. And oh yeah, by the way, did you know that Shonen Jump doesn't get there until a day later? So everybody in Tokyo gets to enjoy Shonen Jump a day before them. So it's basically that. Mixed within there is this, obviously, him constantly struggling with his like for Hina. And yes, like I said, sometimes feeling like Hina might like somebody else, or trying to get the courage in order to ask her out, or, talk to her. His struggles with being able to communicate with her because she constantly just, again, goes off on these long, long speeches that he has no clue what the hell she's saying. And then all the while, again, Hina there is the opposite side of that whole situation, where she's the one that likes him, but is trying to get the courage to talk to him, and obviously knows that he likes Hina, and so she's struggling with that. That's pretty much the only reason why, unfortunately, I'm watching the show. Obviously, when I first seen the show was announced, I was super into it because, yeah, tan girls. They look super cute. We all like our tan girls. It's basically Nagatoro. Don't toy with me, Nagatoro tan girl in an anime. I like the character designs and the style of it. But unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier, Millipenzi sucks. Like, this studio just is absolute garbage. They're typically a studio that does mostly nothing but CGI, and then have recently been trying to kind of blend CGI and 2D in the most horrific way possible with things like, again, cheat skill and whatnot. They're just not a good studio. For the most part, what this studio does, again, is mostly CGI, and then whenever it has to do character designs or 2D drawn characters, it's mostly just steals of characters and panning them. We've seen that a lot with cheat skill. Like, yes, he goes in the forest as his juiced up self and his cheat skill, and he goes around there and he's the CGI dude that's chopping down trees and monsters, and then it cuts back to him being in the town or whatever, and it's just stills and whatnot, kind of just shifting around. This one is barely moving. Again, they're doing well with the character designs. The character designs look really good, but for the most part, like 99% of it is really just like massively close up face shots of characters next to other characters, and they're talking. Maybe a mouth flap is happening. Most of the time, like, literally you can't even see their mouth because they don't even want to animate the freaking lip flaps. It's just like way close up and the character saying something, or it's the character talking at the screen, and then there's like a bunch of dialogue that's being up on the screen that she's saying in Okinawan because they can't just have her say it because nobody understands what she's saying. It's trying to translate it for the people that are viewing, I'm guessing. But it's got the style. It's not animated. It's just mostly just action. It's just mostly stills. It's really massively close up shots of stills. The designs, again, they're really great, but it just has nothing there. The only thing that's keeping me going with this show is that I hate that I'm doing it because I really shouldn't. I really like Kana's character. I really am like rooting for Kana to get with him, and I hate it because it's obvious that he's massively in love with Hina. All the while, Kana's just constantly off the side, just trying to push herself, and I'm like over there kind of rooting for her. There's a love triangle thing there that's happening that I'm frustrated by, but at the same time, I want to see where it goes. Even though it probably will never get to it.
Childhood friends don't happen.
None of them are childhood friends.
You said that she knew him from before.
When he first arrived in the town, she ran into her because he had a Shonen Jump, and the kids kind of ran up going, "Holy crap, how do you have that?" And she was, it's her brother and sister or whatever, I think it was. So she met her the day before he went to class, what I'm saying. But yeah, you could say that's childhood friend. She's childer-ish friend. She's childer-ish friend than Nina. I don't know. Again, its biggest hang-up is that it's no animation. Yeah, they had like this recent episode had them actually have this big festival, and it was the worst freaking CGI I've seen in a long time. Just these CGI models are going, oh, poof, poof. These people are dancing as these really crappy little CGI characters. Like, oh my god, this looks horrible. And then it would cut over to like actual like good art of the characters, and I'm like, okay, good. We're back to the CGI. I hate Millipenzi at this point, dude. I really do. I just really do. Just stop. Millipenzi, just stop. Stop being a studio. Just give it to somebody else. Stop butchering stuff. You've killed enough. You've killed enough properties. You literally killed. You were given Berserk, a property that cannot fail, and you made it fail. Now, granted, they probably just work with a really crappy budget that they were given. I don't fully blame Millipinzi, but at this point, I'm pretty used to the fact that this studio just does not know how to handle properties visually well. I wish people would stop using them. The only thing I can think of is this: they're cheap. Maybe they're cheap. Solo leveling, Chris? How are you liking the new season of Solo Leveling, Chris? Have you been keeping up on it?
Yeah.
What are you thinking? What are you thinking, Chris?
It freaking beats all. They're tearing into it.
Like a bad thing?
No, good thing. Did you want to talk about it, or you just want to go off on it?
It's the next one on the list, so why not?
Yeah, I love it. It freaking looks amazing, of course. The next part is really kind of there's effectively two sections to the story. Pretty much before the getting the ability that he gained in that last part of the the first season, and then the
Arising?
Yeah, the Arising.
The Arising?
There's everything before that and then everything after that. So yeah, we're in the after that part, and it's just so much, and it just gonna build up and build up from here. I love it. I love the building of the hype that they're going on right now. I can't wait to see the island and what they're gonna do there. So yeah, I'm just having a blast enjoying the show right now.
It was so funny because like I was reading the manhwa alongside the series, and then like here recently, they finally brought up the island in the manhwa, and I'm like, because you were mentioning that when we were watching the first season, and you're like, yeah, they don't think they really brought up the island that early or something like that, or somebody pointed it out to me, and I'm like, well, it seems like they really want to set that, like, pre-establish that stuff with the anime like way before, because I'm guessing it just because it comes out of nowhere with the manhwa, because like out of nowhere they're like, oh yeah, this insect washed up on shore in Japan, and now everybody's trying to figure out what the hell this insect came from, and oh yeah, that island thing, and it's like, oh, okay, so now it's finally a thing in the manhwa. I was getting a kick out of the fact that the elixir of life that he was actually hunting for in that demon castle, he doesn't get that elixir pattern in the manhwa until he beats the third boss, that 75th floor. And so I'm like, I was getting a huge kick out of the fact that like in the anime, it became like his driving force for climbing the towers because he got the thing, but he's just leveling in the manhwa. And then he goes, oh yeah, by the way, I can actually make this now. Holy crap, this is a good thing.
Yeah, he has to kill 3 bosses for it, doesn't he?
He got one piece from the 50th floor. He got one piece from the 75th floor, and he assumes the last piece is from the 100th floor, or the boss. Anyways, yeah, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I've said it all over my videos that I've been covering for this series. I was okay on the first season. It was fine. It was entertaining. But I was never like fully invested in the show. But this season has been super good. I still have a problem here or there overall, but I think, and mostly it has to do with Sung's choices that he makes sometimes. Like sometimes I go, I don't know why he's doing this. It doesn't make any sense. Like currently he keeps complaining that he can't have access to higher level dungeons and gates, and then like he walks past like literally every single like leader of every guild and all the high ranking members of guilds and acting like he doesn't want to talk to them. And it's like, dude, compromise. Like, if they want you that bad, tell them I will join you, but I want freedom to go to these gates and do what I want to do. I'm sure they're going to let you do that. But no, he's got a solo level, even though he's never solo anymore because he rises now. It's no longer, it's solo-isk leveling. It's solo-isk leveling now because he's got Igris, who's massively OP, and now Iron and Tank. He likes those kind of names. Anyways, I've like I said, this season I've been thoroughly enjoying though. Like, I think it was especially like the first episode of this season was like, okay, good. Hype first art, we're good. And then like the second episode, like the whole thing with like Iron and fighting what was his name? Bartra, something like that. The weird elf dude. That whole fight was like, holy crap, because it had had like the world building happen in that episode because the thing was glitching when he asked him like, why are you doing here or something like that.
Yeah.
The thing literally glitched, and it was like, holy crap, we found a glitch in the Matrix. Like suddenly out of nowhere, I'm going, holy crap, that like wait, stop. What happened there? Let's talk about this. Why this happened? And then like I said, like how he uses his abilities in that fight was very creative. Because that's really initially what I liked about the show was the clever use of the game mechanics to survive, like not accepting his daily quest reward until he's in back to a corner and then suddenly gets a free heal, that kind of stuff. I didn't like the Icarus fight because it felt like it was just came down to him screaming, but like with the fight with this elf dude, it was like suddenly I know we're doing that again, where we're cleverly using what's around him to get through that fight. I really like that kind of stuff. And then, yes, the random appearance of this new guy in one of the other dungeons that beats the crap out of Huang. And I'm like, holy crap, that kind of makes me wonder what the hell, where he came from, too. So I'm like super intrigued by that whole thing there. It's been a really good season so far. Like, again, I would probably put season 1 at like a 5 or 6. Like, season 1 of Solo Leveling is like a 5 or 6. Like, visually, it's really great, but it's like overall storytelling and characters, yeah. But this season, like, just it's kind of shot up to like an 8. I'm not going to say 8. It's shot up there for me. Like, I'm really, really enjoying this season to enough that we're like, yeah, every episode I'm actually looking forward to it for once. So that definitely have bumped it up. Plus, Chris, they're finally doing something with Shaw. At least it seems like. I mean, she's confronted him. He might just say, I got lost looking for the bathroom, and then he just leaves her behind and he'll never talk to her again. But like Shaw is talking to him, and it's like, oh, she thinks that he's got Go. She thought that he was Go. Go-Gun-He, the chairman. So maybe she likes the old man.
You think so?
She sensed him. I don't know. It's been good. It's been good. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes from here. So. Good stuff. Season 2 of Soul Leveling is doing much better. One more?
All right.
I think we can fit one more. Zenshu. The Zenshu show. The MAPPA show about a director that's holding up an animation project and before going into another world. Zenshu, streaming on Crunchyroll, done by Studio MAPPA. Source is original. Comedy romance is the genres. Wrote by Kimiko Ueno, who did Yuri and Eden. This one opens up with Natsuko Hirose, who in the past, she was the director. She graduated and immediately went to a studio working there, eventually rose up the ranks until she did some directorial work for this one magical girl type show, at which point became a huge success. And now everybody's like eagerly awaiting her next project, which ends up being a movie as a romance. And very quickly, we find out that she is not doing very well. She's holding up the line because she's just delaying on the storyboard. She's kind of run into a writer's block or creator's block, and everybody's eagerly waiting for her to finish that stuff. It seems like the producer is perfectly fine with it. She's like, oh, it's fine. Whenever she does her best when she gets backed into a corner, she's going to eventually write something that's going to make us lots of money. And then everybody else is kind of sitting off the side waiting for her to get her stuff done, or at least have somebody let her help them. At some point, they bring up this one project, or she finds this news article that says that this director had passed away. The director was the director that worked on this one project that she watched a long time ago that she really liked. She didn't understand a lot of the principles behind it. It was a total bust of a I think it was a film. It was a total bust film where nobody liked it. Like even worldwide, didn't really have much success. But she liked it because there was a lot of concepts within it that she didn't understand, and she kind of liked that whole idea. And yeah, as she's like looking into this and thinking about it, she ends up eating a way past date clam and like has food poisoning, which immediately makes her collapse and pass out immediately. Like, you know how whenever you eat like something that's way out of date, instantly it kills you, like it knocks you out that fast. Like it doesn't take time. It just boom.
Happens to me all the time.
Yeah, just like you immediately hit the floor. Like that food poisoning gets in your system quick. Anyways, she ends up waking up and she's in the middle of a desert. And she's attacked by a monster, and then suddenly she's saved by Luke Braveheart, which is actually the main character of that film that she was just thinking about, that she watched a bunch when she was a kid. And Luke and his companions all take her back to the town where she's like, holy crap, I think I've been isekai'd. Yeah, you guys are about to get attacked by something if this actually plays out like the movie. And sure enough, they get attacked. And as they're being attacked, she's like, oh yeah, this is the time they get attacked in. And Unio, which is their unicorn mascot character, ends up sacrificing themselves in order to save Luke. And so I got to stop this. And then suddenly she realized that she has her little animator clip thing for doing her cuts, and it's yelling at her to draw. And so she's like, well, okay, that's weird. Why are you telling me to draw? Just draw. And so she runs out there in the middle of the battlefield, and she slaps down the thing on this desk that appeared, and suddenly she starts drawing a whole bunch of frames to draw a big, massive monster thing that summons out of it and attacks the crowd of monsters to stop Unio from sacrificing themselves, and then collapses. Every time she draws and makes a summon, she collapses. And what kind of precedes this is this her hanging out with Luke and the rest of the actual heroes of this world as they fight against the void that is going to bring about the doom of the world. All the while, Natsuko is learning about, his companionship with his companions. They're learning more about her. She's kind of explained the fact that she's from another world and that she's an animator. They don't understand what an animator is. But yeah, that's the gist of it so far. So in another world, gaining my, overcoming my writer's block, basically isekai writer's block.
Oh, so breaking. she's in a food poisoning like hallucination.
Yeah, that's the assumption at this point. She believes that she's isekai, but it could just be the fact that she's probably just in a coma, dreaming about this story that she's watched a ton of times. I'm assuming that she probably watched it so many times she'd memorized it. They even get into like other movies and whatnot that get into other characters and some weird plot lines that they get in with them. And it mostly for the most part comes down to like a monster per episode concept where something attacks. She gets out there and summons something to save everybody. And then everybody goes Sugoi. How does she pull that off? But I for the most part, it's been it's a lot drier than I thought it would be. That's the troubling thing. Like initially coming in this show, my initial thought process was, again, this is the Yuri Deco writer. This is probably not going to be a good story. Like I have zero trust that this is going to be a good story. So I set my expectations like 0. I figured I would come in this show and probably just enjoy it just for being probably a visual spectacle. Like this is probably going to be a good looking show. It's MAPPA working on it. They're probably going to at least make it look visually good. And it is. I think they get it. It's got a great style to it because it's her, obviously, from like modern times visual design of a show being transported into an old style show. So it's an anime about an anime character of a modern anime that is isekai'd into a pretty much like a 80s style fantasy film. And so a lot of the character designs themselves definitely kind of match that aesthetic, which is really cool. And I kind of like that. I think visually, at least, it's going to look good. And it's got some great Sakuga moments. I was showing Chris earlier this little moment in episode 4 where she's trying to overcome... Essentially, again, every episode has a conflict. And the current conflict for episode 4 was that one of the companions of Luke is, for some reason, working for the bad people. Working for these people that are trying to support the Void. And the whole reason behind it, slight spoilers here, is that she is part of a group of people that have been living for a long time. She's an elf. And they have watched too many people suffer for so long that they're looking for the end. They're trying to create the end faster so they no longer have to see people die. And so they're trying to bring about the end of the everything. And in order to fight this situation, Natsuko can't just summon up something from her drawing to beat everybody up, this cult, because it's a bunch of people that want the end. So the only way that you can really stop people that just want the end is you have to give them purpose. And so her response to this, and this is, I didn't tell Chris this beforehand, her response to this, Natsuko's response to this, is to create a boy band character, an idol, a dude. And so she's literally trying to turn all these people who want to give up on life and have lived so long, something to stand for the rest of their lives. So she basically draws this hot, handsome singer guy that suddenly pops up out of nowhere. He's got this dashing outfit on. He just starts singing like this great song. And then he's just handing everybody these beautiful roses and everybody's kind of getting all doki doki for him. And he walks up to Milam, the chick that's part of their group, hands her a rose, and she gets this beautiful dress summons on her. And they start dancing together all like, I don't know, Disney princess style through the air. And he's got this beautiful voice and everything. And she's just getting all flustered by him. And it all concludes with literally Natsuko saying to Milim, I created the character. Here, you can enjoy it. And she keeps drawing pictures for Milim, and Milim just loves it. She now has something to love for the rest of her life. She's like, I drew this thing that it can live on forever. Here, have it. And Milim takes it and goes, oh, I'll love this thing for forever. She has this thing to stand for, basically. It basically brought the culture of 2D husbandos to a fantasy setting to give it to an elf, to give her something to love for the rest of her eternal life. It was like, this is an isekai. Like, that was probably the most clever episode of the entire thing, because everything else kind of sucks, but that was like a rare moment of like, okay, so this writer can do some clever stuff, and it's completely bonkers, and it absolutely works. Anyways, that is to say, that whole segment was like super gorgeous looking. I'm like, holy crap, this looks better than it has any right to look. But again, that's pretty much been most of the summons that Natsuko does to save the encounters every single week is like some really good sketch thing. It's never been drawn that way though, because like that segment that I showed you, it was fully cell drawn and everything, beautiful animation. Everything that she has summoned before always has, it's just the initial sketches. So it's like literally like the very beginning segments before they clean it up, before they actually color the cells and everything. It's like that initial rough draft. And so it even has like the little notations that are around it that tells cues and whatnot. It was like, I actually like that whole aspect of actually still seeing those in the frame as the thing's kind of summoned up or whatever. But yeah, for the most part, it's like there's an issue. She summons something, it resolves the issue, and that usually has impact. Like they even had this one chick who's like the love interest of Luke. She gets attacked at some point, and Natsuko summons a Tiger Man, like a sumo wrestler Tiger Man, and he beats up the bad guy, and then suddenly the girl that's supposed to be in love, that Luke and her are supposed to be in love with each other, suddenly is a massive fan of this tiger sumo dude, and probably never going to end up with Luke in the end. So there's like certain aspects of it that where she's kind of breaking the story in a sense, that is kind of clever, that hopefully will turn into something interesting. My initial impressions of the series was that coming into it was that it was going to be simply, she has a writer's block, because she's told to write a story about love, and oh, big shock, she doesn't know about love, because literally from school she went immediately into going to the job workforce, and she's never known love. And Luke's bonds is going to show her what real love is, or she's going to fall in love with Luke. My hope was that it was going to be a little bit more deep in the idea that Luke himself has a very strong bond with the others that she never understood. Because again, she said that she watched the show over and over again. She never understood a lot of things about it, but she liked it because she didn't understand things. And I think the thing that she never understood was the bonds. That it's not simply that Luke loves, Milim, that Luke loves Yunio, that they're all partners and they love each other, but really the strong bonds that Luke has with them, they trust each other with their lives. And that might actually turn into something that's a lot less than just surface level. Oh, Natsuko keeps saving them, and Luke's like, holy crap, she's kind of pretty underneath all of her freaking hair. Doki doki. That there's going to be something more to it there. I don't know that it's going to still do that, because it seems like it's doing a lot more than I thought it was going to do. So on one end, again, coming into it zero expectations, it's doing more than I thought it would. And a lot of that has to do with how she's kind of breaking the characters in a way. But it's not deep. It's not that deep. Don't get me wrong. It's not that deep. But at least it's doing something besides what I initially thought was going to be a very shallow isekai to learn what love is, to write a story about love, which is probably going to still be in the end. And kind of a bummer thing, because you're going to go through all this process of possibly falling in love with Luke, and then she's just going to suddenly get CPR and spit out the clam, and then suddenly, oh, Luke's gone. Oh, better draw my stuff now. Finally stop holding up the damn production line. She's kind of nasty, and I was kind of hoping that at some point they kind of get in that. She's changed over time. It's not like anybody has told her she's nasty, but like, yeah, the idea at the very beginning was that she's this director and she's supposed to write the storyboards, and everybody's kind of going, hey, look, this isn't a one-person job. Like, we're here to help you out. And she just kind of gets this nasty look, and they just kind of go about their job and waiting for her. So it kind of goes to the comments everybody made about this being a show about a show from MAPPA about an animator that's stuck in a horrible deadline and gets isekai, and it's like, no, this is the director who's holding everything up. They're literally making a show about a director that's making everybody else have to crunch later because she's taking her damn time. But it's a movie, so it's got a different schedule. But I don't know, they'll probably still make them crunch. Or maybe she'll do her super magical transformation. That was one of the cool things that I noticed, like with the first episode, and I got a huge kick out of it was, again, the thing that got Natsuko popular was that she was the director for this magical girl show. And so when she first has to use her thing to summon something to save Yunio, it does literally a magical transformation. It's literally a magical transformation because it's like magical girls. For those who don't know, for magical girl shows, they will have the transformation sequence be really highly detailed in quality and animation because they're going to reuse it every single episode. And they're literally doing it with this one because every time she goes to do it, she slaps the thing on the desk and then she starts and then slaps it onto the desk, and that's how she summons things every episode. It's that same exact animation over and over again. And I got a kick out of it because I'm like, it kind of makes sense because if this is in her mind, in her dream, again, what did she used to have to draw all the time as a director of this big project that she did back in the day? A magical girl. So it's probably like in her own mind, oh, I'm obviously going to have a magical girl transformation when I go to do this whole process of drawing. I got a chuckle out of it. Anyways, we'll see. I'm gonna keep watching it for sure. If anything, just for the Sakuga moments, which again, like that whole sequence with her and the 2D husbando that she now has fallen in love with. It's got some good moments in there. So I was happy to see that she's not the Ring character. She does have a lot of hair. That is technically a thing there. But everybody in that other world just kind of sees her as a goblin. They didn't know that she was human at first. They thought she was like a goblin or something like that. The reason that she has it that way is because she has it like apparently like a quirk about her that she doesn't cut her hair until she makes the storyboard. So that's proof of how long it's taken her to freaking make the storyboard.
Gotcha.
That's a pretty bad sign about how long they've been waiting for her to make the damn storyboard. There you go. I don't know why she doesn't cut it in the other world. I mean, you're stuck in that world. You might as well cut the damn thing. Anyways, that's Zenshu. Tight. We'll cut it there. We have tons left to do, which we'll get into in the coming weeks. I'm looking forward to, like I said, I will go back and get Medalist. I really badly want Chris to catch up on that because I watched episode 4 and it floored me. Enough that I did my first impression for the first 3 episodes. I'm like, show's great. Really enjoying it. It's up there as like in my 1 or 2 slot for my. It's probably my second slot under Flower and it's fighting with Flower and Asura now that I think about it. Flower and Asura and Medalist for the new shows are just fighting with each other. I did my first impressions on the first 3 episodes. Didn't know my first 2 episodes. Didn't think I was going to go back to it. I wasn't planning on covering it weekly because it's a Saturday show and I already have like 3 other shows I want to cover on Saturdays. But then I watched episode 4 and I'm like, I just immediately like turn on the camera. I got to talk about this episode. This episode just freaking floored me. It's that freaking good. So hopefully Chris can get caught up on it. Yuri on Ice, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to throw that in there just to make some people mad. I call it Lolly on Ice now because people got really angry about me calling it Yuri on Ice. People are just so like no fun. No fun.
Not allowed to have fun anymore.
For those who don't know, every time I do a top list, first like top of the season so far, or top of the season at the end of the season, I always do like a little comedic reel at the very beginning of my video where I just go through a bunch of shows and just make jokes about the show. And the one I did for this one was Yuri on Ice. And I had a bunch of people comment saying, I wonder what your definition of Yuri is because it's not really Yuri. It's like, it's a joke.
Do your
actually. I don't have anything.
Saving the world. Actually, one enter at a time.
Enter. Actually, this is not Yuri. They have no love between the two of them. They just are friends. It's cool. It's okay. People are funny. I think it kind of makes me wonder if people don't know what the reference is, though. I think for the most part, it's people that just do not know how to take a joke. But there's a side of me that kind of wonders: do people just not know what Yuri on Ice is anymore? Like I don't.
It fell into the.
It just disappeared. Like there's like even when like here recently there was like another thing that came up about Yuri on Ice not getting a sequel or whatever, and it's like, oh yeah, it was a movie because they canceled the movie. That's what it was. And it's like out of nowhere, everybody's like, "What's this Yuri on Ice thing?" I was like, I really don't. In the end of the day, I don't think Yuri on Ice was as big as people thought it was.
There's no way.
I know that Crunchyroll wanted it to be big. Crunchyroll was pushing it hard, but I don't think it's as big as people thought it was. Otherwise, it would have gotten a sequel. I don't think it was that big of a deal. And so it is kind of proof there. It's like I tell a joke where I say Yuri on Ice, and everybody's just focused on the Yuri joke. And they're not getting that I'm making reference to a figure skating show that was called Yuri on Ice, but now connecting it to two girls being Yuri and not the character Yuri from Yuri on Ice. And it's like, holy crap. I again, either fuddy duddies or
there's layers to Andrew's joke.
I put a lot of thought into that joke. I put a lot of work in that joke. I spend like a good 3 hours on every one of my joke reels. But I tell most people, it's like, I think every time I make those reels, somebody's offended by something in every single one of them because they take it too seriously. And at the end of the day, people enjoy it. I enjoy making them. They'll just have to be fuddy duddies. Anyways, that's all we're gonna do for today. We'll have another. I'm certain probably another. Maybe we'll be able to do it in just 2 runs. We'll see. It's a lot of returners, and returners don't really take us much time to go through those. So it might be a 2-part first impressions, and we'll go into music and have a moment to chill. We'll finally have a moment to chill. But anyways, we hope you guys enjoyed these first impressions of the Winter 2025 anime season so far. Definitely appreciate your guys' support. If you're on YouTube, hit a like button down there, subscribe to the channel if you're new there, leave us a comment, tell us about your thoughts about these shows. If we're completely off base, people are like, Zenshu's the greatest show ever. What are you talking about? Something like that. We always appreciate the feedback. There's also ways to support us there. Super thanks there. Talksphere.com is where all of our links are for ways to support us there as well. Greatly appreciate everybody's support. And until next time, take care.
Os.